Hi there, this is a short video presentation about helping your learners become more independent, in particular focusing on study skills. We all know this is a key factor in how well learners do in their courses, and of course it's a key life skill and a work skill that we want to help our learners develop. Some of your learners will be having exams coming up soon, so it could be a timely reminder for them as well. So when we think about learners being independent, these may be some of the areas that we can consider. Thinking about attendance, punctuality, creating a positive environment for learning, setting high expectations for learners, helping them with their motivation and commitment, and the wider issue of preparing learners for life and their personal development. And in fact, if you recognise any of these terms, that's because it is the language from the new Ofsted framework around that idea of independent learning and learners being learner ready. So we can think about dividing this up in many ways, but it could be helpful to think about these three key areas: time management, in-class study skills, and self-study. And we'll have a little look at all three. So if we think about the time conflicts that our learners have, obviously many of them have other commitments, work, caring responsibilities, family, volunteering. They will have travel to the centres when they're back in physical centres. They will have childcare to manage, and of course their own issues around self-care and well-being. If they're not managing time well, then this can lead to problems. It can lead to poor attendance, it can lead to a lack of punctuality, not getting the work done that they're set outside of class, and not doing any additional reading or research or revision when they need to focus on assessments. It's interesting to think about whether learners understand the impact on their achievement if they don't get their time management right. There's a lot of research that's been done, for example, on the link between absence and lower attainment. It's proven to affect all levels. Even learners that are quite confident and secure, so-called high-level learners, can think they will easily catch up if they miss classes, but it's not the case. Lateness means that they're going to be missing key elements. An introduction can really set the tone for the class. They can feel behind for the whole lesson if they're late, and it is very disruptive to other students in the class. Not doing their homework is really key, because they're missing the chance then to reinforce the learning that's gone on in the classroom, to get any misunderstandings corrected. If they're not looking at that topic from one session to the next time they're in class, it makes it really difficult to remember what they've done. And the reading and sort of extra research or revision, again, is really important for helping to reinforce learning. They can get extra practice and get extra support. And if learners are in exam classes, then obviously that's really, really critical. So these are some of the conflicts, and these are some of the problems that they can cause, and it's important that learners understand those. So how can we help learners manage their time better? One simple idea is to do a calendar with them, a timetable with them. So you could do this with the whole class, or you could just do it with learners who are struggling with the time. Get them to think about all the things they need to do in a week and map it out, including time that they need for themselves. Have they allocated the space for travel time to the classes, for doing their homework, and so on? How are they prioritising the classes that they're attending with us and the study time? Can they get family and friends to help out with chores that they need to do? Is there any movement around the work shifts that they can do? Is there an activity that might need to be dropped for a while if they really want to prioritise their studies? So you could provide a simple timetable for them, or you could get them to do one themselves very simply on a Word document, and that can help reinforce spellings, for example, days of the week. You could simple vocabulary around daily activities. You might even get some maths in there if they're looking at adding up times. So you could do this perhaps as an in-class activity, or you could provide a timetable for learners to fill in themselves. There's a simple saying, if you put something on a to-do list, it might get done, but if you put it in a calendar, much more likely to get done. So moving on to study skills in class, these are some of the skills that we are hoping to encourage and support in learners, and these are the ones that are going to really contribute to success. So listening is a key one, making their own notes, using a highlighter to pick out keywords in handouts that you might give them. And of course, you could perhaps translate that into highlighting online documents. Being able to read and summarise any slides or handouts that you're being given, adding notes to those handouts and slides, taking photos of any work or collaborative work that's been done together as a class. And the last one, assessment, reflection, improvement. So having a look at the work that they've done, thinking about the errors that they've made, and thinking about how they can improve that. So there are other skills, of course, but these are some of the key ones, and you can think about how you can explain to learners how each one helps to embed the information that they get in class and make it relevant and memorable. Make it explicit to learners how to do these skills. So model good listening skills, model note taking, teach how to highlight key words and phrases, and encourage that on an ongoing basis. The final area was self-study, so thinking about learners outside the classroom and what they can do to reinforce their learning. These are some of the ideas that we've come up with, but of course there are lots of other ideas. So we can encourage learners to come together themselves in WhatsApp groups or study buddies, put them together on projects that they can then connect with each other outside of the class to help each other. Giving them access to class sites or external websites that they can go to and do their own independent learning. There is lots of edtech that's suitable for learners to use themselves. So you think about perhaps some basic things like Quizlet or Kahoot that they can go on and do their own individual quizzes and practice. The library is, of course, a great place when they're open for them to go and do some independent study. And memory aids is maybe thinking about very simple things like flashcards and, using post-it notes or pieces of paper that they can make their own simple flashcards with, right, key word on one side, definition on the other, or a picture on the other. So I hope this has given you some reminders of why we should be encouraging independence and autonomy in our learners. but more importantly, has given you some practical suggestions and ideas of how to put it into practice. The video will be on our TLC website, and if you've got any comments at all about it or any suggestions for any future videos that you'd like to see on any teaching areas at all, then please get in touch with us at the TLC office email address. Thanks for listening.